When a former United States Admiral says, "It may already be too late to stop what's happening in Asia," the world pays attention. But here's what most people don't realize. The story isn't just about China, it's about the Philippines, a nation many once underestimated, now quietly making moves that could reshape the entire future of Asia. From winning a David and Goliath legal battle against Beijing, to becoming one of the fastest-growing economies in the region, to sending its sons and daughters across the world as a global force of soft power, the Philippines has begun something no one can ignore, and even America's top military minds are starting to admit this momentum may be unstoppable. In 2016, a small nation stood up to a giant. The Philippines took China to The Hague over the South China Sea, and against all odds, it won. The Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled in favor of the Philippines, rejecting Beijing's sweeping claims. China ignored it. But the verdict mattered, because it showed the world that Manila wasn't afraid to challenge a superpower. It planted the seed for what analysts now call, well, the Filipino strategy, using law, alliances and diplomacy to counter brute force. For a country with fewer ships and smaller guns, this was brilliance in action. Fast forward to today. Under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the Philippines has revived old alliances and, forged new ones. The United States now has expanded base access under EDCA. Japan signed a new defense cooperation pact. Australia and the Philippines held joint sea patrols. Even Europe is beginning to take notice, with Germany and France opening deeper maritime dialogues. This Marcos Doctrine isn't about shouting, it's about balancing, keeping doors open to trade with China, while tightening military ties with allies. It's quiet diplomacy, but it's changing the entire chessboard of Asia. Here's something surprising. Even the Philippines' neighbors are starting to feel the ripple effects. Singapore, long considered Southeast Asia's model economy, is watching closely. Why? Because the Philippines' outsourcing sector has exploded, making it the BPO capital of the world. Its population is young, English-speaking, and digitally connected. Multinational companies are pouring investments into Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao, not Singapore. And with infrastructure spending at record highs, the Philippines is positioning itself as Asia's next tiger economy. The question isn't if it will compete, but how fast. But perhaps the most underestimated power of the Philippines isn't its economy, or even its military. It's its people. Over 12 million overseas Filipino workers live across the globe, from New York to Dubai, from London to Tokyo. They send home over $36 billion every year, keeping the Philippine economy one of the most resilient in Asia. But it's not just about money. Filipinos bring influence. They work in hospitals, schools, embassies, ships, and tech firms. They are soft power in action. No other country has such a global people's network, and in geopolitics that matters more than tanks and missiles. So where does the Admiral come in? Former United States Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral Philip Davidson warned in 2021 that China could act aggressively in the region within 6 years. This became known as the Davidson window. But here's the twist. What he and other analysts are now realizing is that the Philippines is no longer a passive player in that window. It's an active shaper of events. By granting United States forces greater access, by strengthening ties with Japan and Australia, and by standing firm on its Hague victory, the Philippines has changed the entire equation. What was once seen as Asia's weak link is now a pivot point for balance. Let's be clear, the Philippines cannot outgun China, but it doesn't have to. Its strategy is asymmetric. Instead of matching warship for warship, it's using its Coast Guard as a front line, white ships against gray ships, de-escalation as strength. And surprisingly, it's working. Recent standoffs in the West Philippine Sea showed the Philippine Coast Guard outmaneuvering larger Chinese vessels, not with firepower but with discipline, strategy, and international backing. Analysts say this approach has frustrated Beijing, while winning Manila respect worldwide. Meanwhile, on the economic front, the Philippines is doing something few thought possible. Even after the pandemic, its GDP growth is among the strongest in Asia. Its middle class is rising, tourism is booming, and with green energy and digital commerce on the horizon, the country is becoming a hub for future industries. So, this isn't just about catching up, it's about leapfrogging. While others struggle with aging populations, the Philippines' youth is its greatest asset. By 2030, it could become one of Asia's top 3 growth engines. So, when an admiral says it may be too late, what does that really mean? Well, it means the Philippines has already started something that just can't be undone. It's proven that a small nation can actually defy a giant in court. It's created an alliance network that stretches all the way from Washington to Tokyo to Canberra, and, it's shown that economic resilience and people power can outweigh military intimidation. In short, the Philippines has already shifted Asia's balance. And honestly, no amount of pressure, not from China, not from skeptics, can erase that momentum. The bigger lesson here? This isn't just about the Philippines, it's about what the Philippines represents. It's a reminder that courage, diplomacy, and resilience can really punch far above their weight. That small nations are not pawns, they can actually be players. And sometimes the quietest moves end up shaking the entire board. So, the next time you hear about the South China Sea, or Asian economies, or U.S.-China rivalry, just remember this. The Philippines isn't just caught in the middle, it's steering the game. And as one U.S. Admiral warned, it may already be too late to stop what the Philippines has started, because, well, history has a new player, and its name is the Philippines.